The preseason might not count in the standings, but for young players and new rosters, it tells a story, a preview of chemistry, hunger, and potential. On this particular Saturday night, the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder collided in a game that, while technically meaningless, carried the energy of a battle between two teams desperate to prove themselves. Both sides had players fighting for roles, chasing roster spots, and showcasing what they could bring when the lights start shining brighter. It began with flashes of promise. A.J. Mitchell, playing his first preseason game for Oklahoma City, showed early composure, slicing through the defense with a quick drive and finish that turned heads. For the Thunder, it was about rhythm, movement, and trusting their developing playmakers. Ball movement had always been one of their keys to success, and from the opening minutes, you could tell they were determined to build on that identity. But across the court, Indiana was waiting, eager to make a statement of its own. The Pacers didn't open the night with fireworks. They built their momentum quietly. Tyrese Haliburton may not have been leading the charge, but his influence lingered. The team's pace, its emphasis on spacing, on finding quality shots, felt like his fingerprints were still all over it. Obi Toppin, ever the energy spark, gave the first real jolt of excitement. A trailing three from the corner. Then another. Suddenly, Indiana was running, passing, cutting, the ball zipping from hand to hand until it found open shooters. The crowd could feel it. This was Pacers basketball. The game found its rhythm, a back-and-forth tempo where youth took center stage. Tayon Peter, the 54th pick out of Liberty, was impossible to ignore. His calm on the perimeter, his quick release, everything about him screamed confidence. Every time the Thunder closed the gap, Peter answered, burying threes and cutting to the rim like he belonged. This was the kind of night where young players could either disappear or seize their moment. Peter chose the latter. Oklahoma City had its own flashes. The Thunder's roster is full of length and energy, and their transition game is relentless. But every time they tried to impose their will, the Pacers answered with control. The ball movement was sharp, the spacing pristine. Obi Toppin continued to rise, literally. His lob finish off a steal from Quinton Jackson brought the arena to its feet. The chemistry was undeniable. You could feel the confidence building possession by possession. Then came Jarris Walker. The rookie forward reminded everyone why Indiana had drafted him so high. Quick footwork, power through contact, and a growing sense of poise, his drive against Wiggins was a thing of beauty. The spin, the balance, the finish. Moments like that don't show up in preseason box scores the way they should. They tell a story of a player learning to slow the game down, to make it his own. The Pacers began to take control midway through the second half. Defense turned into offense. Steals led to transition plays, and the team's energy fed off itself. Jackson's inside finish and the ensuing foul gave Indiana its largest lead of the night. The crowd felt the shift. What was once a casual tune-up had transformed into a showcase of the team's depth and development. For the Thunder, A.J. Mitchell remained their steady hand. Every drive was deliberate, every shot purposeful. But Indiana's rotations, even with their younger players on the floor, were just a step quicker. When Youngblood, another unheralded name, drained back-to-back threes, you could sense it. The Pacers weren't just experimenting tonight. They were sending a message. Still, the game wasn't without its chaos. Turnovers crept in, as they often do in preseason basketball. Walker lost the handle on a drive. Wiggins returned the favor moments later. The result? More transition madness. Toppin found Maturin for a soaring alley-oop that reminded everyone just how explosive this Pacers roster can be. It was raw, unfiltered energy. The kind that makes you believe this team could surprise people once the real games begin. Peter continued to shine. A deep three. Then another. He wasn't just scoring, he was leading. Every time he rose to shoot, there was a quiet confidence, as if he'd been here before. The bench noticed. The broadcasters noticed. Everyone in the building did. Peter wasn't playing like a rookie hoping to make the roster. He was playing like someone trying to earn minutes in real games. The Thunder tried to respond, leaning on their speed and hustle. Youngblood's third three of the night gave them life, and a few sharp defensive possessions cut the deficit. But every time they closed in, Indiana's passing cut them open again. A perfectly placed dime through traffic, a baseline cut, a clean corner jumper. It was basketball the way coaches dream about. By the final quarter, the Pacers were in full control. Ray J. Dennis, another preseason standout, stepped into the spotlight. His confidence from deep was undeniable. 1-3 after another, each one punctuated by the kind of swagger that can only come from rhythm. When he hit his fifth of the preseason, even the opposing bench could only nod in appreciation. It was a game defined by growth. Peter's poise, Walker's power, Dennis's shooting, and Topping's energy. Each element blended into a team that looked deeper than many expected. The final score, 116-101, was more than a number. It was a signal that Indiana's youth movement isn't just potential anymore. It's production. And for Oklahoma City, there was still plenty to take away. A.J. Mitchell's drives, Youngblood's hot hand, the team's commitment to ball movement. These are the foundational elements of a team building towards something real. Nights like this remind us that preseason isn't about perfection. It's about finding the spark that can carry into the grind of an 82-game season. As the clock wound down and Barnhiser's final layup sealed the night, the crowd rose in appreciation. The Pacers had delivered a show, not one for the standings, but one for belief. These were the moments that give fans hope, that make preseason basketball feel like more than just practice. It was a glimpse into what's coming. Because if this game was any indication, Indiana isn't content to wait for the future. They're building it right now. What did you think of this preseason showcase? Were you more impressed by the Pacers' depth or the Thunder's flashes of potential? And which young player do you think deserves a Real shot in the rotation once the season begins? Drop your thoughts below, and if you love these breakdowns of rising NBA stories, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more game narratives coming your way.